Hello. Welcome to my channel. Okay, let me just stop. I don't know what I'm doing. If you have been on the internet at all in the last week, then there's a good chance that you have come across an NPC streamer, or at least someone trying to be. And this is because last week, news hit Twitter that there was a young woman over on TikTok who goes by the name Pinky Doll, who was making $2,000 to $4,000 an hour pretending to be an AI character and streaming as if she was an NPC. If you don't know what any of these words mean, I am going to explain them to you because I just learned them as well. But regardless of what the words mean, what cannot be denied is that Pinky Doll has discovered a way to make a lot of money doing something that is seemingly simple, and as a result, has opened the door for a lot of people to try it themselves. And try it they did. I can now not get on my TikTok, my For You page, without seeing somebody pretending to be some sort of AI-generated NPC character in a virtual world while doing a live stream and having people give them virtual gifts that add up to sometimes thousands of dollars. I think the biggest dollar amount I saw was $10,000. So I thought in this video I would take a look at what an NPC streamer even is, why this particular activity has taken off so much, and I also thought I would give you guys a little story time on one of the weirdest jobs I have ever had. But before I begin, I would like to thank the sponsor of today's video, Drift. So even if you are lucky enough to become an NPC streamer from the comfort of your own home, you might still have to go out into the world and drive yourself to the store every once in a while to take a break and get yourself some real life refreshments, not just virtual ones. In that case, you might want to check out Drift. Drift creates air care products for both your car and your home. All the materials they use are sustainable, and their scents are made with natural essential and fragrance oils. Their car products are just around $9 for wood and $14 for stone. And what's cool about these car fresheners is that you can get them with a subscription. First, you receive a starter kit with just the clip and the scent, and then you get a refill every 30 days, and you can try out different scents. The best part about this is Drift's Scent of the Month, which features a new limited edition scent. It's inspired by the season and the memories and emotions attached to it. When scenting an environment, nose blindness can become a real thing. So the Scent of the Month also gives you some variety because it gives your nose something new to smell every month. For this month, I received the Cabana scent, which is giving a fun summer kind of resort style experience. It's a scent that has coconut and sea salt and cedarwood, and it just smells like you just went to kind of like you're at an all-inclusive resort and you spent a day in their spa or something like that. It's very nice, very summery. If you would like to try Drift for yourself, please use my code STEPHCO to get 55% off your first month at drift.co. All right, so before we really get into this, we have got to define some key terms. The first key term is NPC, which stands for non-player character. And this is gaming language, which is why when I first heard it, I had no idea what was going on. I'm not a gamer. The last video game I played was during the pandemic. It was something I downloaded on my phone because I was so very stressed out. It was a SpongeBob game where I could go in and I was the fry cook at Bikini Bottom for the day. And basically the pancakes come off the conveyor belt. And my job as fry cook was to get as much jelly on top of each conveyor belt pancake that I could in enough time before the customers got mad at me. The customers, those are the NPCs. Those are players that are already written into the game based on the game's code that I have to do things for. And in some games, they are people that you can buy things from. You can give them like your points for certain things. I don't know anything about video games, but that's what I read. And NPCs play a big part in the world in virtual worlds whenever gamers are interacting with the world. There are specific NPCs that kind of have, pop culture, they've reached pop culture icon status, such as the different characters that walk around in the game Grand Theft Auto. even though I've never played Grand Theft Auto a day in my life, I still know what those characters are. And so when people act out that behavior on social media, I'm like, oh, okay, like I get that. But an NPC is a character that exists within a virtual world that a user can interact with to get what they want out of that experience, whatever that might be. An NPC also for a little bit was a derogatory term that people were throwing around on social media, an insult, like you don't think for yourself, you're just in the simulation. You don't really think for yourself. I don't know. It was an insult that I was seeing floating around social media for a little while last year. But in this case, it's not a negative thing. It is a good thing. Because what people are doing is they are pretending to be these non-player controlled parts of this virtual simulation via their live streams. And the players, the live stream attendants, are coming on and they're interacting with them. And even though they're non-player controlled, they can respond to what the players are doing. So let's say you throw a pepper at the NPC. They can pretend that the pepper is so spicy and hot. Let's say that you give a rose. They react a certain way when they give the rose. And the mannerisms that these people who are playing these characters are taking up are straight out of some kind of a video game. They're bouncing in place. They're speaking in a certain tone. They're speaking with certain mannerisms. They're repeating the same things over and over again. Normally, NPCs have very specific things that they say that are tied to their specific characterization within the game. The people that do this really well make a lot of money at it. Now, there's a couple theories as to why. So I'm going to share one. And that theory is people are exercising a control fetish. So the idea that they get to tell someone what to do and guide someone and control them, that's something that they're doing with this behavior. I won't say too much about that. I don't know too much about that, but I'm just saying that's something that I've heard. Another reason why people are making a lot of money at this, I think people are really trying to help folks out. I think the idea that I'm getting from social media that I'm picking up on is ever since people found out how much Pinky Doll was making and they saw that some people were brave enough to try this for themselves, there's been a real like, hey, if you're in there and I can toss you a pepper or two and it counts for something, then oh well. It's kind of like if you're brave enough to do it, I'll support you. That's the vibe that I'm getting, but maybe I'm looking at everything through rose-colored glasses. I don't know. From what I can see when I read the comments, I see a lot of people asking, are you sure this is something you want to do? Are you sure you're not sinking too low? Because some of the behavior, some of the NPC behavior is questionable, right? Some of their reactions are just like, some of the characteristics they've chosen for their specific characters. The fact that some of them have been or will stream for such long periods of time, it's questionable and definitely has brought up some desires for these people to examine their representations of self and examine their own ideas about and around self-respect. But outside of that, I just feel like people are attending these live streams and they're throwing money at these people because if you're gonna do it, I could support you. Here we go. It's like a novelty. It's like, come see the show. It's like a circus type thing, I think. So this is not something I would ever do to make any type of money. Even though these people are, the money's not a joke. A lot of them have been very open about their earnings ever since they started this. You are paying taxes on this money, but it's still really, really good money. And the time that we're in right now and life in general, I feel like if you can find a way to make a system work for you, no matter what somebody else is doing, no matter maybe what the origins of this system are, if you can find a way to make it work for you, to me, I feel it's like the gold rush. Make it work for you for as long as you can. And there are ways to do it without disrespecting yourself. There's funny ways to do it. I've seen a lot. Ever since I started paying attention to this and paying attention to what people were doing, I was like, oh, all right. But yeah, when it comes down to it, this is not something I would ever do to make money. But I can't judge anyone because I have done weird things before. Nothing illicit or illegal, but I've just done jobs where I'm like, really? This is what I'm doing? So for example, I definitely got sucked into the whole let's sell knives thing where you have to go door to door with knives. Although I didn't make it all the way to going door to door to sell the knives, I simply walked out of the interview. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. Only to get a job where I had to go door to door and sell paper supplies. That's right, like a member of Dunder Mifflin. Going door to door to sell paper and pens and stationery supplies to random companies in random office buildings. It was terrible. Another job that I had was selling real estate folders. And so vendors would pay to put their information on the back of a real estate folder. So like if you move into a new house or an apartment complex, they hand you a folder and different vendors have their information in there, or their information was printed on this folder and they would pay for the ability to advertise this way. That was I made it through the training week and then I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I always was really good about making it through the training week and then being like, why am I here? Because for a lot of these jobs, they would only pay you for training. And then afterwards, it was like, this is commission only, which was crazy because it was so hard to do the thing. Which brings me to the weirdest job, or one of the weirdest jobs. I've had a lot. But one of the weirdest jobs I ever had, which was selling timeshares. I worked there for approximately 6 days. I did the training week. I lasted on the floor 1 day. I walked out during my very first shift. And let me tell you why. So I got this job by looking in this newspaper. It was called the Houston Press. I'm not even sure if it still exists, but I saw it and they said, we are looking for talented, driven, all those wonderful words, passionate, and whatever, salespeople to come out and work for a hotel, in a luxury hotel. And I was like, cool. I thought I'd be working in like hotel sales or something and like doing events, or I don't know what I thought, but I called them, I scheduled an interview, and I went down and attended this interview. And the interview was kind of the situation where if you showed up, you got to attend the training. And they would toss you a $400 check at the end of the training week. So I was like, whatever, we'll see. So I go to training, and I am in this place, and I'm doing this thing for a week. And, I'm like, whatever, I'm memorizing my script. I'm communicating with my coworkers. I'm trying to get comfortable, get to fill the place out. And I can't help but notice that we're kept back in this training room pretty much all day unless they want us to, unless it's a bathroom break or it's lunch break or they want to take us around the property to tour or something like that. But for the most part, we're just in this training room. And I noticed that there are people that actually work. They're already hired by the company, but they come every morning and they sit in the back of this training room with us. And they don't ever get up and go out and actually make sales. And I noticed this, and I also noticed that there is somebody, one of the guys who's just sitting in the training room. He's never really on the floor. He always brought the same thing for lunch every day, which was like summer sausage links and corn on the cob. And he had these long fingernails. I do remember that this man would put those summer sausage links on his fingernails like kebabs and nibble at his nail kebabs while he was back there in this back room. And so I looked at him doing that nail kebab nibbling, and I was like, they've got to get me out of here. I've got to be on the floor. I know I'm bad. Like, that's why that dude ain't out there, because he out there eating sausage off of his fingers. I'm going to get out there, and I'm going to kill it. I'm going to make $1 million doing this. It's going to be great. Well, the Saturday comes, and I have to actually get on the floor, and I'm excited. I wear my best little Banana Republic outfit. I worked there at the time, too. This was during the, rough years of the recession, okay? I was one of those millennials who were overworked and underpaid, so, if you had to be there, okay? It was quite the experience. But I had my little Banana Republic on, and I was like, I'm going to go, and I'm going to kill it. So I show up bright and early, I'm ready to go, and they put me out on the floor, and they sit me down with a Black woman, and she's by herself, and she has a baby with her. If you've ever gotten one in the mail, an invitation for a timeshare, then you know what it is. It'll say something like, come on down for a presentation. No need to buy anything. We just want you to see what you could have. Afterwards, you could win a free hotel stay. So they say that they only sent it out to people that they knew could afford this property. But the second I sat down with this woman and she started talking to me about her job, she worked as a dispatcher for some type of service. She'd been there for 11 years. She'd never taken a break. And what's more, she only made $11 an hour, and she'd just gotten a raise. I'm sitting there, and she's got this little boy with her, and she's like, oh, this is my nephew. The little boy starts getting upset. I'm still trying to get through my little sales presentation. She's trying to listen to me, bless her heart. She had only come out there because she saw a free day in a hotel, free day in a resort hotel in Galveston. She got excited. And she was there to have a vacation, and she decided to bring her nephew with her to give her sister or whoever else, I think it was her sister, I think it was her grandnephew, I think that's what it was. So to give somebody a break, she brought this little boy with her, and she was going to have a vacation weekend. And all she needed to do was sit through my presentation. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, number one, this woman she can't buy this. She shouldn't buy it. And I almost want to tell her, ma'am, I'm just going to say I did this presentation for you so you can get your vacation and I can move on to another client. But I know that that's probably not going to fly. I've got to go through the whole thing. So I try and go through the whole thing. Baby's making a lot of noise. So I stop and I'm like, hey, does he like oatmeal cookies? She's like, maybe. So I go to our little snack bar. I grab him a little oatmeal cookie and bring him back. He fools with that for a little bit. He don't want that. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's thirsty. She goes, maybe, but I just have a little bit more in his container here in his little sippy cup. I don't know what to do, whatever. I mean, I don't have any more of what he was drinking. So I'm like, okay, well, what does he like? And she's like, well, he likes lemonade and apple juice, but we try and dilute it with water. So I go into our little kitchen and we add some juice. So I put juice in there, I put water in there, I come back to the table and I'm shaking up his little sippy cup while I'm going through my presentation. So I'm now a baby bartender trying to deliver this presentation. I give him his sippy cup and he's happy for the moment. So we go through it and she's like, well, it does sound good. And I'm like, yeah, it does sound good. But I think I was supposed to not talk about the price till the end. I think that's what you do. So I knew this dirty little secret that she was not going to be able to afford, just based on the fact that she'd already told me I make $11 an hour. I work hourly. I never get vacation. This was already a very predatory system. I mean, interest rates on this thing were 25%, I think. But I mean, that was only if you had to sign up for it a certain way. If you sign up another way, but you had to have credit of $800 and put down $10,000. I mean, it was crazy. She should not have been in that room. And I realized that the reason why they put her with me is because, well, we're both Black women who are single. So I should be able to prey on her. I didn't like that. So I was like, I'm going to go through this presentation, but when the time comes, I'm going to let her know, girlie, don't do this. This is not, no. No. We're already in the middle of a recession. Do not do this to yourself. And don't feel bad when you have to say no. So eventually we go and we tour the property. And that was another thing. They didn't have golf carts or anything for us. So whenever we toured the property, we actually had to put the customers in our car, which was weird. I had a Honda Civic Coupe at the time. So it had a cramped back seat and it was an experience. So I put her and her grandnephew in the car. We went around and we went to one of the buildings and we toured it. And she was like, this is so nice. I could see myself here. I could see, I'm listening and I'm like, man, I hate to, I'm going to have to bust this bubble, but that's okay. Cause I don't know. So we get back to the hotel and we're looking over the finances now and her face just dropped. And I said to her, don't feel bad. It's an expensive experience. I said, even if you say no, you'll still get your free weekend here in Galveston. I'll make sure you get all of the other freebies they have too. Don't worry about it. We had to go through the presentation. It's my first day, whatever. So she's like, okay, I'm really sorry. I don't think I'll be able to do it. I was like, I understand. It's not a big deal. Last part of this though, I got a call over the sales manager and he has to try and work the customer because I couldn't do it, right? He's the experienced salesperson. So that's the last part. They bring him in because he'll know what to say. And when they bring him in, it's my turn to get up and to go talk to the manager or just get out of the way. So I get up, I go talk to management, leave her at the table with this shark. And I basically just ask him, I'm like, you guys said that you send off the cards, you send out the information to people who can afford this, but I was talking to her and it doesn't look like she can afford it. And I think he said something just really dismissive like, oh, well, we can't control everything or something like that. You should have built a better relationship with her. This is one thing I've discovered about managers, specifically sales managers, is that it's never the reality of the situation that could have gotten in the way of your sale. The person just didn't have the money. It's always, oh, you didn't try it this way. You didn't try it that way. You didn't. No, she ain't had no money, man. It wasn't nothing to try. So I went back to the table. And at this point, she's just very uneasy and very ready to go. And I'm like, you know what? It's fine. Let's go ahead and let you go and have your vacation. I will go and walk you guys out, and I'll make sure you get the other things that are available. It's like maybe like a shirt or a Frisbee or something, whatever. And we can get you started on this weekend. And the sales manager, the guy who was supposed to close it, was like, and he walked off. And by this point, somebody else had signed up. So they were like ringing a bell and people were celebrating that situation. But I just wanted to get my lady out, get her on vacation as soon as possible. And I wanted to get out of there because I didn't want to be in a situation where people were prejudicially assigning me customers just because they felt like I was the right person to push this woman into financial ruin. No, thank you. So she walks out and I go and grab my stuff from the break room and I leave. I don't tell anybody I'm leaving. I don't talk to anyone. I just leave. Years later, I am at a resort hotel. I have taken myself on my first big girl vacation all by myself. That's when I went to Mexico last year. And there's one thing I wanted to do, but I knew I was going to have to sit through a presentation to do it. And that was go to the spa. So I go to the front office and I say, hey, I'll go to that presentation because I already knew. I'm going to let the guy know, you ain't getting none on me. I am here for the spa. You can do your presentation. You can sell it as much as you want. Don't take it personal when I don't buy it. So I meet up with him and he says to me, no pressure at all. We just want to know what your options are. I said, that's good. And I'm going to tell you this. At the end of this sale, if I see the numbers and they don't line up with me, I don't want you to take it personally, okay? You're probably a really great salesperson. Don't take it personally. And he was like, oh, I won't. Of course not. So we talk. He tells me about his life. I eat breakfast. I have some mimosas. I'm hanging out. Finally, it's time to go into the bullpen, sit at a table, and to look at the numbers. And I looked at the numbers and I almost wanted to laugh out loud. There was no way in the world that I was going to be able to do that on my own at this point in my life. And so I told him, I said, friend, we're here. We're here at the moment I told you we were going to be at earlier. This is not happening. And it has nothing to do with you. And it's nothing to do with your sales performance or your personality. It's because I just can't do this. This doesn't make sense. I'm not going to go into financial ruin so that you have a good day at work. You understand? And he did not understand. Of course, he took it personally. They send over the shark to close the deal. And the guy's like, this is what we can do for you. This is what we can do for you. They start marking up the paper. And I'm like, that looks really nice. All your squiggles and circles, they look amazing. The answer is no. Now, where is my massage coupon? And I told him, I said, and by the way, this guy, your first salesman, he didn't need your help. He was amazing. He showed me exactly what I wanted to see. He let me know about all of the amenities. He gave me a great tour. I'm just pumping this kid up because I don't want him to think as a salesperson that he can't sell because that's what, if you've ever worked in sales, that's how the sales managers talk to you. Why didn't you do it? You didn't give him this. No, sometimes people just ain't got the money. So I said, he's been amazing. You're amazing. I love this place, but I can't do that. Can't do it and won't do it. I hope you understand. So the guy was like, I get it. Go back downstairs. You will have your spa coupon. And I did. And it was great. But that is definitely an example of a job that I've had. And I was able to use that experience, for my future. And I think my experience working various jobs, I have really worked some very uncool and weird positions way past my, expiration date for being at that specific place. And so when I see these people jumping online and making $2,000, $4,000 a stream, doing whatever, and there are a couple people that judge them for what they're doing, and some of the things are they should be judged. But when I see this happening, I remember that sometimes until you find your place, until you really connect with your purpose, sometimes when you discover a great opportunity to make some money quick, and that's what you need, you will jump on any opportunity. You will try things out. And you will have that experience. And hopefully it's something that you can learn from that will benefit you down the line. And I did get my little $400 check, by the way, from that company. I hope these people get their little money from this opportunity. And when it's time for them to move on, I hope they move on too. Okay, so that's how I feel about the NPC streamers and that whole trend in general. Again, it's not something I would ever do, but I have done my own things that people would be like, what? You did what? I've worked in debt collecting. Listen. How about you? Have you ever done a weird or unfulfilling job just so that you could maybe make some quick cash or even just so that you could have a story to tell? If you're comfortable sharing, please share in the comments below. By the way, please make sure that job is legal. Yep, legal. And somewhat family friendly if you decide to share it. If not, I will have to delete your comment. It's just, Gotta preserve the space and all. But yes, otherwise, please feel free to share. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks again to Drift for sponsoring this video. Please be sure and check the description box below for more details.